Hey, so in today's video, we're going to look at how to prove the arithmetic sum formula. So you've hopefully already seen the previous video where we looked at how to use the sum formula for arithmetic series. So how to find the sum of a load of terms in a series. But this video is going on how to prove the formula. And a question will look something like this. Prove that the sum of the first n terms of an arithmetic series is this stuff. So you basically need to derive this yourself. And to be fair, it's not easy. It's pretty complicated. And particularly if you hadn't seen it before, I'm not sure there's any way you'd really come up with it yourself. But if you learn the steps, it's really not that bad. So the first thing that we have to do, if I scroll down a little bit, first thing we want to do is write out the sum in algebra. So S of n, so the sum of n terms, is going to be a, the first term, plus the second term, which we can express as a plus d, because just the first term, add the common difference would give you the second term. So on, so on, so on. Then the second last term would be a plus n minus 2d, whereas the very last term would be a plus n minus 1d. Yeah. Recognize that this here is the formula for to find a particular term. But this would be the one prior term. Then, once you've done that, I always do the two first ones and the two last ones. Once you've done that, you do the same thing again, except this time you swap it around. So you do the very last term first, then the second last term, and then you do the second term, and then the first term. So at the moment, that seems all a bit pointless. But if we now combine these, so if we add this first term with this last term, yeah, imagine you've got a plus a, it's going to be 2a, and then we're still going to have the n minus 1d, so we get n minus 1d. So those two added together gives us that. Yeah, that's the important bit. Then if we do that for this next one, if we have a plus d, and we add that to this one, again we have a add a is 2a, and then if you have n minus 2d, but you add a d, then you only really have n minus 1d. So we get that. Notice that this is exactly the same as that. Then we do it the same again. So over here, we combine all of this with this, and we'll get this one. I mean, adding these two together is actually exactly the same thing as adding these two together. Yeah, like a plus d, a plus d, a plus n minus 2d, a plus n minus 2d. So the logic there is exactly the same. And same thing when we combine these ones. Yeah, adding these two gives us this. Now, that is actually really important, because if you think about what we have here, when we've added these two SNs, and we get 2 times the sum, we get the same thing repeated over and over again, n number of times. So 2SN actually is just n times this. Yeah, times one of these. We get n sets of these. Which means that if you just want Sn, you just want to find the sum, not two sums, all you're going to do is divide this side by 2. So the sum of the formula is n over 2 multiplied by this. And that's it. That proves the formula. So you don't really have to remember like every single letter here. All you've got to remember is you write out the formula. Sorry, you write out the sum with all in algebra. You do it again, but the other way around. And then you add them together. You simplify this side down, basically factorize it, and then divide by 2. And that's it. So I hope that's made sense. This thing is a bit tricky to remember. What I recommend is just writing out on paper a few times yourself, maybe try explaining it to a friend, and then a few days later, just try go back and try write out again. And to be honest, once you've done that for a couple of days in a row, you'll have memorized it all perfectly. And it'll just be an extra one of those things that you can tick off and you know how to do. So I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.